I'll let you take the liberty of doing so. What is the Mayor's office? This is from Miriam Rodway. I don't know if Miriam's here tonight. If you are, thank you for the question. If you're not a problem. What is the Mayor's office doing to work with businesses and experienced people to help them take more responsibility to volunteer within their community and to respond to the riots and to rebuild relationships, particularly with disengaged youth? That's the question, boys.
Right. Here, if there's anybody who wants practical help in how to make their firm, you personally, able to do this in a painless way, without the hassle, without being worried about CRB checks and all that kind of thing, then please talk to Lizzie Noel, and we'd be only too happy to help. And obviously, across the criminal spectrum of criminal justice, there's a huge range of measures that we're putting in place to try and cut reoffending. Particularly, we've got a unit at Feltham, which we're trying to persuade the government to expand, which deals with some of these kids, sits them down in the prison, and educates them. And that is so important. We can lock up all these rioters as we're doing. What is the point? We've got 2,590 people arrested so far. About 1,500 charged. Large numbers of them are going to go to prison. What do you want to happen to those kids in prison? Do you want them just to rot there, learn from other criminals, or do you want their lives turned around? I want to see education in it. That's why it's so important to have units like the Heron unit in Feltham, which, as I say, Kit was instrumental in setting up. And that reduces reoffending by talking to them, educating them from about 80% in the Heron unit to 80% generally to 20% in the Heron unit. And that is a very important part of the way to go.
Can I just add, Steve, that one of the other things worth highlighting
specifically about Sutton, I mean, obviously what happened in August was terrible. I just want to remind ourselves it was a tiny, tiny minority in this borough. We're talking about 50 young people who did things that I think quite surprised us. We're not used to seeing things like that in Sutton. It was dealt with very effectively. The vast majority of our young people in this borough are fine young people who are already volunteering, who are already doing excellent projects through Duke of Edinburgh, through the Volunteer Centre, through the initiatives that we've started with the Young Foundation called the U to get people to sign up to volunteering. Obviously we need to think about why it happened. More importantly, we need to think about how we can make sure it never ever happens again. I think the point the Mayor was making about jobs, about apprenticeships is really, really important. The person who put in the question actually said something called, Steve O'Connell quite rightly summarised, but the question actually began as a parent of a teen with learning difficulties. And I thought that was quite significant. The opportunity to have jobs, to have apprenticeships, to volunteer is very important for all our young people. Whatever their needs, whatever their interests, we have to find ways of making sure that they have the opportunities they deserve. This borough actually has the lowest percentage of young people who aren't in training or education or jobs, and I think that's very important, but it doesn't mean we need to stop there. We need to do a lot more, and we need to think how we can engage with our young people. We have a group called the Young Advisors, who are all under the age of 25, who actually look at what we do as a council and tell us if the language works, if we're talking to the right people, if actually it makes sense to them. So it's not just about handing out projects and ideas, it's also listening to our young people and understanding from them what it is that they think will work best in this borough.
And I'd also, and it has been mentioned, commend the work